So let's multiply. So multiply we use a star sign, and I will choose to go for equals to assign it directly. So multiply plus equals to, okay, sorry, multiply asterisk equals to, I'm gonna set the mul list. In the mul list I will pass the index I. So multiply itself to the mul list with the index I. Now we have to use the increment of course this will increment. So at last we can get the output, the multi the answer is, and we have to use colon. Answer is, we're gonna give comma and type mul, only mul, because we have set up the mul as the variable. So let's run the program. We got the answer 120. 4 into 5 into 3 into 2 is 120. That's what we got. So let's go to the another one. 6. We're gonna translate the multiplication table of a given number. So this is interesting one. So multiplication table dot py. Let's start with user input. So user num equals to, we have to change the input into the integer. If you write enter a number, this input statement will always bring out the string. It gives the string as the output. So we have to convert the string value into the integer value. For that we can use the int statement, int method. We put the input in the int method, which brings out the integer. Look, integer from the string or from any data types. But it should be relevant, it should be convertible. If you put a, then int can't convert the character a. So this will give this variable integer, this will make this variable integer. Now let's proceed. So again initializing the, of course I will set this to 1 because we're gonna start the multiplication table with 1. Now I know that while I should run this loop until I reach 10, so I'm gonna write 11. While I is less than 11, that means first value is 1. If we do the increment 2 3 4 5 and up to 10 it will run. If it's 11, it's not smaller than 11, so the loop discontinues. Now let's print how it can be done. So we can use the print function to directly print the multiplication table. At first, in the print statement, we have to consider our multiplication table. Imagine our multiplication table. We got the user num, so it's like if I put the value 5, then 5 into 1 equals 5. The multiplication table should go like that. So I have to create the printout on that sense. So 5 into this into multiplies the value, so I have to put this value inside the string. I should make this as a string so that it prints the value rather than work out on arithmetic operations. So username into, we have to give the 5 into 1, so here's the 1, so I. Now again we have to print the equals sign and I will separate everything by a comma so that it gives a clear space between them. Username comma star I and comma equals. Now we have to use the product or use the multiplication method. Username star and I. This will generate our multiplication table. But the I value will not increment until I give the incremental operator. This will increment the I value to up to 10, and this will give the multiplication table. So let's run the Python file. As I said 5, so 5 1 5, add 2 5 10 10. That's the simplest method you can do using only the print function. Inside the print function you can use operators, variables, and separate them by commas so that you get nice spacing between everything. So let's do with the 7, reverse a list. So this one is a cool concept. Reverse list dot by. So let's take an example. Let's say A is a list with okay, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, it's like a list. Let's say A is a list with those values inside it. I'm gonna set a variable for the increment operator, and we use while I is less than length of the object A. Now we have to reverse the list. For that I think we should use reverse A, an empty list, so that we can put the values inside the list. So while I is less than len A, we have to insert okay, here's the problem. We're gonna use length as a increment operator, and we have to use greater than or equals to 0 as our loop. Len A minus 1, so that we can get the last element the first time. So this works like this. I will just use the increment to minus 1. Now we have to put the syntax here. So here's the given list, here's the reverse A list, which is empty, and in the increment operator I, we have set the len A minus 1. This is increment operator I gives the index value from this. So first we have to extract the last element from the list A. So here's the last element, which is the number 5, but its indexing value is 0 1 2 3 4. So indexing value is 4. To get that, we have to use len A minus 1. Index value is len A will give us how many elements are there? 5. So 5 minus 1 4. It will give the last indexing value. Now we have to use while. So while I is greater or equal to 0, until I is greater or equal to 0, this program will run. So the value of I is 4 for now. So 4 is greater or equal to 0, which is true. So this will run and it will execute this command. And for the increment or decrement, we have to use decrement. Here I minus equals to 1 gives that it lessens the value of I by 1. So I less than equal to 1 lessens the value by 1. So 4 minus 1 3, and it is again true. So this will 3 indexing is 4, we will get that value. Okay, that's the logic behind that. Now let's add the value to the reverse A list. To add the value to the reverse A list, we can use reverse A dot append. The append command or append method will add the values in the last to the list, at the last to the list. So we get the value 5, we have to put the value 5 in the first. So reverse A dot append, we're gonna put the value of A with the index I. We have already managed the, we have already got the value I to 4. So when this will run and A4 will give the value 5, and it will append or add the value to the reverse A. That's how it's gonna continue to add the values to the reverse A until this indexing reaches the values of 0. So now it's simply about printing the reverse A list. Let's run the file. So here it is 5 4 3 2 1. That's how we're gonna reverse it. I have done like this in a for loop statement too. So here's the reverse list in the for loop. This is even okay. Reverse string, reverse list. This is how I have done in the for loop statement. The old list was this. Reverse list is empty. For I in range reverse list dot append. It's the same. So let's do another one also. 8 number. So given list is but expected output in a new list. So here we got to add old list and the new list. So we have to add one to each element in the old list to be the new list. Each element in list dot by. So how we are gonna add one to each list, each element in the list? We already got the formula to get every element in the list. We're gonna make, this is the reverse analogy, but we're gonna consider another one. The given list was a equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. The output list is gonna be 2 3 4 5. Let's see how we're gonna go. So starting from I equals to 0, because we're gonna get the indexing 0 from, we're gonna get the 1 from this list. So we're gonna start with this indexing. So while, let's get a true condition, while I is less than len a, which is the list. Now while I is less than len a, we have to extract each variable and put it out in a new list. So let's say new list, new a. So new a is empty. New a is empty. So we're gonna put new a dot, to add a file we will use append, to add an element to the list we use append, and how to get an element from the a. So we already know a, and we'll use the big brackets and we'll use indexing. So we're gonna add one from this element. add